Hi there! Welcome to Russian with the Russian. My name is Diana, and you know that I'm here to teach you a little bit of Russian. If you have subscribed to my channel, you know that I already have a video on how to make a pretty convincing Russian accent. And if you aren't, you are always welcome to go and check it out. But today we're going to talk about something different. We are going to talk about famous actors speaking Russian on screen. Obviously, serious actors take their jobs very seriously. And of course, it also includes learning a particular accent for a role. Today, I'm going to break down a few performances by famous actors in Russian, which I find most interesting in terms of attempts at mastering Russian. And will point out the main mistakes, if there are any, and how they could have been avoided. But if you'd like me to break down some specific performances, please let me know in the comments below. Let's go! Okay, the first one is Scarlett Johansson in the Avengers. As far as we know, the Black Widow is Russian, so she must speak the language as a native speaker. Scarlett said in some interview that she had only 48 hours to prepare for the scene. As a fellow actor, believe me, I know what that means. It's really tough. Been there, done that. Well, I know that she took some lessons with a dialect coach, so let's watch and discuss.
Не так я ожидал провести этот вечер.
Okay, first of all, I can't not comment on this man. Well, he looks pretty much Russian to me, but his speech, not so much. Let's listen again.
Не так я ожидал провести этот вечер.
Well, I think he's Polish because Russian and Polish are really similar. Even some words are the same. But still, this man would not pass for a Russian, like, at all. And his outfit, it's so ridiculous. It's like wearing your sweatpants together with a suit jacket. But that's another story about Russians in Hollywood movies. And we're here for Scarlett, so let's continue watching.
Я знаю, что вы ждали.
Я знаю, что вы ждали. By the way, her ya sounds really good to me. But then we have three tricky sounds. Z and n, which are located lower in Russian than in English. And then sh, which is just a bit different. Okay, let's listen again.
Я ожидал провести этот вечер.
Я знаю, что вы ждали.
Я знаю, что вы ждали. So the first two sounds, z and n, should have been lower. So what she should have done is lower the tip of her tongue a bit lower because those two sounds are, well, in English, those sounds are located in the area of those little bumps above your top teeth. And in Russian, they are lower. So she should have pressed her tongue against her lower teeth, or maybe a bit higher, because it depends on a person's articulation abilities. Знаю, знаю, not знаю, знаю. So it's pretty much, well, it's very common. It's a very common mistake when you try to speak Russian. Я знаю, что вы ждали. Я знаю, что. Sh. Well, to pronounce sh in Russian, you should you should hold back your tongue a bit and let it soar in your mouth, but not like spread it out like this. It should look like a little scoop. So sh, not like sh when you spread your tongue out. So sh, like you should. No, not you should. Sh, it should be tougher. Sh, like should, should, что. And I think I once covered the thing with the sounds d and t in Russian. I'll put the link to this video above so you could check it out. And those sounds are also lower in Russian. So, я знаю, что вы ждали. Ждали. Okay, ждали. Again, let's listen.
Что вы ждали?
Ждали, ждали. J and D should have been pronounced more confidently, but okay, we'll let it slide. And L should have been lower, because if it had been, then E would have found its place too. Ждали, not ждали, ждали, ждали. No, ждали, ли. It's here. Okay, let's go further.
Что вы ждали? Так лучше, поверьте.
Так лучше, поверьте. Okay. Так лучше. That's interesting because despite the spelling, we pronounce this word as лучше. Лучше. It's like a flap T in English, but the tip of your tongue should be lower. There's a saying in Russian, понять и простить, which means understand and forgive. So, well, please do that. It's like, well, it should be like this. Лучше. You know what to do. Поверьте. The sound V should have been pronounced gentler. I already talked about consonants in Russian a few videos ago. We have hard and soft consonants. And the letter V produces a hard sound by nature, but when it's followed by the letter Y, for example, it becomes softer. V, V, not Вье, поверьте. No, it's like the same mistake in привет, привет. No, привет, вет, вет. So поверьте, not по. Oh! Поверьте. Поверьте, поверьте. As well as the letter T, well, in the ending. So поверьте, те, not те, те. Поверьте. And the same thing applies to the letter R, which is followed by the soft sign. R. I know it's really hard. I know. I actually have a video on how to pronounce the Russian R. You should also check that out. So R, поверьте, R. It's like a little vibration. Поверьте, поверьте. So we have 3 soft consonants in this word. Well, and now you can try it yourself. Поверьте, поверьте. Soft. It should be softer. Поверьте, поверьте, поверьте. Okay, next.
Я думала, генерал Сологуб отвечает за экспорт.
Я думала, генерал Сологуб отвечает за экспорт. Okay, everything's going pretty smoothly here, except the emphasis. In English, it's general, and in Russian, it's генерал. And the same situation is with the surname or the last name, Сологуб, Сологуб. So basically, we're talking here about a simple reduction of the vowels which are not stressed. She even pronounced the ending, the last letter, B as P, which is correct. It's a thing in Russian and most other modern Slavic languages called final unvoicing or devoicing, when instead of a written voiced consonant, you pronounce its unvoiced equivalent. For example, for B, it's P, and for D, it's T. So, sat, a garden, is written with D, but is pronounced with T. Sat, sat, and I'm spitting on the screen right now. Okay, so that's what Scarlett did here. And finally, the за экспорт. Well, it's almost okay to me, except that one thing called reduction. She should have said за экспорт, not за export. Not the export, not the export. It sounds a bit American to me. So за экспорт. I absolutely adore Scarlett Johansson. She's a great actress. She's a great Black Widow, and we can see that she's doing her best here, considering the time she had to prepare for the scene. But nevertheless, she doesn't sound Russian to me. It's more like trying to sound Russian. I'm sure she would have done a lot better had she had more time to prepare, especially because she's a great singer, and she's a marvelous singer, actually. And from my experience, people who have musical ear, they tend to pick up accents very easily. But of course, phonemic hearing and musical ear are, well, not the same, and I actually have a few students of mine, or colleagues, whatever, who are great musicians and singers slash whatever actors, and they don't have phonemic hearing like at all. But that's very rare, and mostly when people can sing, they can pick up accents as well. But again, she did a great job here. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. In Russian, Миссия невыполнима протокол Фантом. Okay, let me tell you, I just love the series of Mission Impossible movies. I once even sent my resume to their casting directors in hopes of getting an opportunity to audition. So, we're going to discuss one of my favorite scenes today, and favorite because, on the one hand, every time I watch it, I just laugh so hard because, well, this makeup is so ridiculous. And at the same time, I admire the audacity of the main characters because they thought they could actually pull it off. Of course, let's talk about the Russian language in the scene.
Товарищ генерал-полковник, майор Егоров, ваши документы, пожалуйста.
Okay, this guy, well, he's actually Russian, which is cool because, well, Mission Impossible is one of the very few productions that actually tend to hire Russians to play Russians. And thank them for that. Take, for example, Vladimir Mashkov, because he plays the main Russian agent who chases Tom Cruise's character, and he's cool. Let's continue watching.
Начальство надо знать.
Okay, that was bad. Sorry, Tom. I love you, I really do. But this, no. What he says here is начальство надо знать, which means you should know your superiors. Начальство. He says начальство. Well, except for the wrong vowel sound, there are the same mistakes that Scarlett made. The L sound should be lower. It's much higher here. You know what I mean when I say higher? It's not a higher pitch. It's higher in position. And S is too American to me. Okay, well, you'll ask me, what does the Russian S sound like? It should be sharper. S, S, not S, 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 S. And the tip of the tongue should be lower. Then, надо, начальство надо. N and D are higher, again, they should be lower. And had he lowered the tip of his tongue a bit more, that would have been great. So, they should be lower. Знать, начальство надо знать. Z, his Z seems okay to me, but N again should be lower. It's higher than it should be here. Let's listen again.
Начальство надо знать.
Надо знать. So, начальство надо знать. Okay, let's go further.
Я не могу вас найти.
He says, I can't find you.
Проверь еще раз, рядовой.
Проверь еще раз. Рядовой. Okay, check again. Private. We just talked about the word поверьте just a few minutes ago. Проверь sounds similar. The only thing is, поверьте was in the second person plural pronoun form, which in English is you in plural. Поверьте. And here, проверь is in second person singular pronoun form, which is in English is you in singular. Проверь. But the mistakes are pretty much the same. So, поверьте, проверь, поверьте, проверьте, поверь, проверь. Поверьте, проверьте, поверь, проверь. His, V and R are too hard. Еще раз sounds okay compared to the rest, actually. Еще раз, еще раз, еще раз. Remember about yi. Еще раз. Рядовой. Okay, his R is out of place, and it actually sounds like a speech defect. In Russian, we have two types of speech defects of the R sound. Either it's too mild, it's too soft, when your tongue is too relaxed and it doesn't vibrate as it should. And the second one is it's an exaggerated sound, it's an exaggerated rolling of your uvular R. It's when you place your tongue, the back of your tongue against or near the uvula. It's that soft, small thing that hangs from the inside of your mouth, just above your throat. And here it's the first case. It's like it's too mild. Рядовой, рядовой. It should be sharper. So you should roll your tongue. I actually have the video on rolling your R's. You can check it out. So he should have said рядовой, рядовой. And the second thing, when you exaggerate your R, it actually sounds as a French R. You do it in a French manner. Рядовой. So you should not do this. You should not do this. And the ending in рядовой should have been sharper, because we are talking about the y sound here, and in Russian it's sharper and clearer. That's why we make the same mistake in English. When we try to say, for example, boy, joy, we usually pronounce them as boy, joy, while we should do it differently. So what he should have done here is make it sharper. Рядовой. It actually sounds, it's similar to the English yes or yellow. Рядовой, рядовой. So you know what to do. Sharpen your y.
Егоров.
Oh, Igorov. That's funny because here is the same y sound. And together with the unstressed y, it should sound as yi. Yegorov, Yegorov. I covered this in the video above. I'll put the link again so you could check it out. But Simon Pegg here, he said Igorov. Again, the importance of stressed vowels in Russian. You can't stress every vowel. You need to stress only one. Yegorov. And the rest, well, it actually becomes reduced, and it's like jumping over the rest of the vowels in the word. Yegorov. Yegorov, not Igorov. Yegorov. Plus, don't forget about the unvoicing of the last consonant. Yegorov. Rf, f, f. All that combined with the more relaxed than it should be R, R. That's all. That all makes Simon's speech unnatural, unfortunately.
Генерал-полковник, не узнал.
Ты пожалеешь, рядовой Егоров.
Ты пожалеешь, рядовой Егоров. You'll regret this, Private Yegorov. And this is the worst part of it all. Actually, zh in Russian is sharper, as well as sh. Zh, zh, ты пожалеешь. Again, the unstressed a practically becomes y, zh, пожалеешь. Yes, пожалеешь. But since it's not stressed here, it doesn't pop out much. But again, l should be lower. Пожалеешь, not пожалеешь, пожалеешь, пожалеешь. And the ending shouldn't be so obvious. Пожалеешь, пожалеешь, ты пожалеешь. Рядовой Егоров actually sounded more aggressive this time, but okay. Again, the mistakes are the same, and the so funny. I think he actually meant something like, who hires these people? But it sounds a bit artificial to me here because, well, we also use it in Russian. For example, when we are sure that we can do something, it's really easy for us. Like, well, I can do that in a second. Just hold my beer or something like this. So yeah, we can use it. But here it's not Russian. Well, it's a bit artificial again to me. I mean, they would have been arrested by the time Tom stepped foot on the Kremlin premises, wearing that ridiculous fake nose and that enormous mustache. So anyway, I love to rewatch this particular movie, especially because of the scenes shot in Dubai. They're really great, amazing. And Tom, I don't know if you're watching this, because if you are, and you need a Russian-speaking actress, Stranger Things, David Harbour and Tom Wlaschiha. Let's watch.
Ты чё, американец? Чё там копаешься? Уставший, что ли, сегодня?
Ты чё, американец? Ты чё там копаешься? Уставший, что ли, сегодня? Okay. Well, first of all, Tom Wlaschiha knows Russian, and it's cool. He plays a guard here and should be a Russian native, but his speech doesn't sound native like at all. What he's trying to say here is, ты чё, американец? Ты чё там копаешься? Уставший, что ли, сегодня? Okay, I'll talk about the last phrase a bit later, so let's start with the word что. It is often pronounced as чё by Russians, it's true, though it is considered inappropriate to pronounce it like this, чё. You can't say «чё вы делаете» while public speaking. You'll say «что вы делаете». But with your friends and relatives, or like here with working class people, it is often common to use «чё». For example, my grandma, when I call her, she always asks «чё новенького?» What's new? Let's get back to Tom. Ты чё, американец? Let's watch again.
Ты чё, американец?
Ты чё, американец? Американец. Ты чё, американец? Well, his k and ts are not good. K should be sharper because it's a hard consonant here. Ts is a combination of two sounds, t and s. But owing to some differences, we talked about them a few minutes ago, so because of the position of the sounds. In Russian and English, the final result appears not to be great. So, ts, ts, американец, ts. So, t in Russian is lower than in English, and s is sharper. Американец, ts. Ты чё, американец? Try it yourself. Ты чё, американец? Американец. К, американец. Ты чё, американец? The same thing is with ты чё там копаешься? Ты чё там копаешься? P is too English with this with a bit of air. P, ты чё там копаешься? Копаешься. No, you should not do this. Try to be more relaxed. Копаешься, копаешься. Ты чё там копаешься? Just a bit. Press it a bit. Not like, well, too hard. Копаешься. Ты чё там копаешься? Sh is out of place. Копаешь, копаешься, копаешься. No. Копаешься. Ты чё там копаешься? Ты чё там копаешься? So overall, it's not good.
Что там копаешься? Уставший, что ли, сегодня?
Уставший, что ли, сегодня? Okay, here goes the next line, the last line. And it's interesting because despite the cool attempts to create a lively speech here, it doesn't sound lively like at all. Why is that so? Because we don't say уставший, что ли, сегодня. We don't say уставший, что ли, сегодня. It's completely unnatural. What we could say here instead is ты чё устал? What are you tired? Ты чё устал? You know, I've always wondered why they just can't hire Russians to play Russians. Is it too difficult? And people will say, yeah, but it is difficult because, well, Russians should have work permits and they have to be decent actors as well. Well, let me tell you, I once had a talk with Costa Ronin. You may know him from The Americans and Homeland. He's Russian. And he told me that when they were shooting the final season of Homeland in Moscow, they got visas for every actor like in 2 weeks. So, well, it is not that difficult actually to get what you want if you are seriously committed to your goal. And I'm sure that there are tons of super talented Russian natives who would be happy to audition. Well, actually, it's interesting because there is another actor here who plays the main warden, and he's Russian. He's totally Russian. Okay, let's continue.
Свинья. Что ты сказал? Урод!
Свинья. Что ты сказал? Again, что ты сказал? Что ты сказал? Что ты сказал? Свинья, урод. Свинья means pig, a pig in Russian, and урод. It's actually an offensive word. Asshole. Урод. He replies, David Harbour. David Harbour is supposed to only start learning how to speak Russian in this scene. It's a good scene, actually. Two foreigners are trying to, two American, well, Tom Wlaschiha, he's German, I think. Two people are trying to speak Russian. And David Harbour replies, свинья and урод. And you can see that he's struggling a bit here. But that's understandable because, well, he's not supposed to be Russian in this scene. He's just learning it. And that's why it's okay for him to speak with an accent. Свинья, урод. Nevertheless, he's doing okay. But let's check out another scene from the next episode where it is implied that he has already learned a few things in Russian. Get back.
Сломалась, а? Не работает.
Cool. Сломалась, а? Не работает. For an American speaking Russian, it's actually brilliant. Even if he were supposed to be Russian, it would still be almost impeccable. Great job. I'm really impressed. Сломалась, не работает. So it's not working. It's broken. It's broken, slomались. So if you ask me, I'd say that out of two people who are trying to speak Russian here, the one who plays an American actually has a better Russian accent than the one who's supposed to be Russian. So it's a paradox. Okay, today we've talked about the Russian accent in famous movies. Again, if you'd like me to break down some more performances, please write in the comment section. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to learn Russian with an actual Russian. And just in case, if you know Tom Cruise or Scarlett Johansson, please tell them to check out my video. Have a nice day. See you soon. You're Russian with the Russian.